Good morning. Welcome to the coaches meeting. That's the coach.
What's going on,
I'm
guys?
Grant Cohn. What's going on, guys? Draft is tonight. Niners don't have picks as of yet. They can make some trades, but it's a whole 3-day process. We're going to break it down for you. Consider this like the pre-draft special. And for the members of the 49ers organization who are watching right now, consider this like the cheat sheet. This is what you guys need to do to get through the weekend with passing grades. So we'll talk about we're going to talk about Lamar. We're going to talk about why they're good at drafting late. We're going to talk about what other teams could do in the draft. And we're going to make predictions on which positions the Niners are going to target. But first, let's talk trades because right now I'm just going down to Santa Clara tonight to do nothing, Coach.
Right.
But there could be some moves, which is why I'm going down in the first place. So in your opinion, like what are some trades that the Niners should be, or like teams they should be calling, trades that would make sense for both sides?
Well, you go with who you know. I feel like there are a couple of teams that, would be a friendly voice on the other end of the phone that we could go after. But right now, if we're trying to get in today, right, let's talk about today because we're far removed if we just go by our order. If we needed to make a splash, I would say we would probably creep into the end of the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And a trade partner that I think we could, and this is pie in the sky, guys, but 28th overall with Cincy.
Okay.
I think that if there's how the draft tends to be, it ebbs and it flows. There can be a run on a certain position if one guy gets taken, right? So we could see a run on tackles near the end of the draft, near the end of the first round, because I feel like the tackle class, there is a delta between like maybe that top 3 guys, top 4 guys, and then there's a drop off in actual athletes and talent. I feel like if tackles are in play and since he doesn't need any tackles, I feel like we could move to go in with the 3 compensatory third round picks in next year's first will probably get us back in this year's first round draft in the 28th pick. And the reason why also is that the draft is a game within of itself, right? It's its own entity. So we would also be playing interference with Kansas City, who needs tackles as well. And they're right behind Cincy. So that would be my move that I could see us potentially making if we had to skip 3 whole rounds just to get up into the first round. That's where could see us making that move.
Yeah, I think we got to be on alert once we get to like 24, 25 tonight. I think that's the spot where the Niners could jump in if they jump in. And I'm not sure that they will, but we've heard them not linked to the Giants, but the Giants have been linked to Brandon Ayuk in the sense that they want him. And I don't know if they can get him, but the Giants picked 25th. And so I think it's possible that there could be someone who falls to 25 or 28, to your point, with Cincinnati, someone who falls in that range that the Niners love, that they might be willing to, part with a bunch of picks or Brandon Ayuk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know they don't want to leak, but let's just say that they get up there. The players I think that would be in play, if they want a wide receiver, which I think is unlikely, Jordan Addison from USC would be the guy they could get there, but I think Ayuk's better than him probably. But what's interesting is offensive tackle, to your point, if those are gone, tight end. That Sam Laporta guy from Iowa killed the combine, kind of like Kittle did. I could see the Niners wanting him, considering how proud Kittle is of tight ends in Iowa. And I don't know. Michael Mayer is way slower than that Laporta guy. And the Niners what they could do, they could trade Ayuk for Laporta and sort of change to a 2 tight end offense.
Well, if you're really looking at tight ends, also Dalton Kincaid is there from Utah. He's also there, and Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame is there as well. So, if we really, I just if we're gonna go into the first round, I don't want us to go best available. I want us to go best need, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think we would make a move like that for best available. We and coincidentally, I feel like they would say best available, but if Paris Johnson is there at 28 and we make that move, I'm not mad at that move at all, right? Because we've been talking about we talked about this earlier. We've been talking about the Niners really investing in their offensive line.
Right.
And if we could do that, I feel like that would be a move that we would see day one. Now, is that our modus operandi? Is that how we get down? No, I don't think we would do this.
Paris Johnson's probably going top 10, but I could see them. Look, if they trade Brandon Ayuk to get, or if they trade into the back half of the first round anyway and get an offensive tackle, I mean, it'd be hard to knock the move, but at the same time, like they did take Mike McGlinchey top 10. So just because you're taking an offensive line in round one doesn't mean he'll be good. You gotta know what you're doing there. And you know the Niners like run blocking specialists as offensive tackle. Did I lose the coach? What happened? Coach, come back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, you're back. All right. So you're looking at the end of round one. I'm looking at the end of round one. Another trade the Niners could make tonight is a trade for Lamar Jackson. Or some team could trade for Lamar Jackson. I mean, it feels like this isn't necessarily a deadline, but things happen during the draft.
Right.
Jed York says, on the one hand, you have to have a very good quarterback or an extremely great quarterback to win a championship, and they're searching for one. But on the other hand, they say they don't want to really sacrifice any of their roster. So it's like, do you want a great quarterback? Do you want a cheap quarterback? I guess my question for you is, you live out there. You see a lot of Lamar Jackson. Would he be a good fit for the 49ers? Like, am I wrong, or would his play like get taken to another level here?
Well, let me. I'll say this. He would have to be Lamar Jackson is steak and potatoes. He's straight up and down. It would almost be like having Jimmy Ward at quarterback. If I had to have a comparable personality of what it would be like to have that type of guy at the quarterback spot here in Santa Clara, I don't see him as a fit. Yeah, I wouldn't see him as a culture fit here at all. Because he really owns the space that he's in, and like Baltimore is in love with Lamar Jackson, and to be honest with you, before Ray Lewis, nobody really thought that you could achieve that in Baltimore again. So
I see what you mean.
I think that if Lamar came to Santa Clara, I think that Kyle Shanahan would not be here long. Because it would come to a point where if they don't win,
oil and water. Yeah.
If they don't win, Lamar is not gonna let Kyle just talk about him. He's not gonna be Jimmy and smile.
Right.
And he's not gonna take well to that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it was my fault we lost today. Kyle's right. Yeah, he was right.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's gonna be a lot of that.
He's Jimmy bigger than the team, isn't he? Lamar's bigger than the team, isn't he? Yeah.
We would go from Jimmy not even talking on social media to Lamar saying cap. That's cap.
Yeah. That's true. That's
you know
true.
What I'm saying? Like that's
true.
That's not facts what's being said right now.
That's a good point.
I don't think that he would be a culture fit, because one of the things that I know about the NFL is that there's teams where there's men that deal with coaches and there's men who deal with men, and then there's teams where coaches treat players like players. There's a player-coach dynamic. And the Baltimore Ravens there's all men in that room. 100%.
Headstrong alpha males.
All men are in that room. Nobody's going to take one for the team. Nobody's going to step in. No, they're going to say what they need to say, and everybody's going to be staunch. So that's not what we have here in Santa Clara. No. We don't have that here.
A bunch of guys who do what they're told, keep their mouth shut.
It's real kumbaya, shit come by, go to Cabo. You know what I mean?
It is though. You can't just be teammates. You gotta be friends. You gotta socialize together. Your wives gotta know each other. You gotta spend time together. I mean, and honestly, like, if your culture is a better fit for Sam Darnold than Lamar Jackson, you need to look at your culture. What's up with that? Because I want my culture
Yeah.
to be a good fit for the best players in the world, Craig.
It's
The
it's
world,
frat
Craig.
boyish. It's frat boyish. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
It's
But
cliquish.
I love that you went straight to the culture and not scheme fit or money,
Nah,
because those are factors too. But this is the essence of it, man. It would never happen in a million gazillion years. Not a million
it's
gazillion.
it's not a culture fit whatsoever.
Nope.
You know,
Zero.
yeah. Like look at
Yeah.
the savviness of what Harbaugh is doing with Lamar. Do you think
Mhm.
that Kyle would be able to go head to head with a
No.
quarterback that outspoken and gregarious,
Yeah.
and could actually back it up?
In fact, Kyle actually has spent his entire career avoiding those quarterbacks. His entire career. He wants the opposite. If there's a spectrum and Lamar's on one end, he wants the other end of the spectrum every time.
I know there's probably somebody in the chat screaming this right now, so I'm gonna help them out. Just look at Kyle and RG3's relationship.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And
Yeah,
RG3 was not, it was nothing like Lamar Jackson.
it was
Nothing like
nothing
Lamar Jackson.
like RG3 is like diet Lamar. Like he can't. He's nowhere near. Like
True.
nah, man.
True.
Yeah.
True. Hey, totally agree with you on that. This is never going to happen. Good call. Official BNA Music 88 says, I'm headed back home next month trying to hit the go-go and see TCB.
Oh my goodness. Then you're gonna have to find Go-Go don't be played out here in DC no more. Those days are over.
I've heard of go-go. I don't know the first thing about go-go, man. Like, was that the 80s? Like, what, or the 90s?
Nah, it's
Nah.
still happening now.
Okay.
It's a different form of music. It's percussion based.
Okay.
And a lot of original songs come from it. And they're like locally based bands in the city that play all over. And have you ever seen The Wire?
Yes.
All right, do you know Slim in The Wire? Slim Charles?
I haven't seen it in about 10 years.
Yeah. Well, Slim Charles is he's a real famous go-go artist out here in DC.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
by
cool.
G the Prince.
I know there's not like a super big rap scene in DC like there is in New York.
Nah, there is a rap scene in DC.
There
Fat
is?
Trail, Shy Glizzy. Yeah.
Shy Glizzy.
I
like Shy Glizzy. I haven't heard Wale. That's true. You just named 3. Good call.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from the Bay, so it's like, you know.
I know people from my city.
We can name more than 3.
I'm representing. Like I'm not.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. You want to mock here? The Niners don't pick top 10, but the Seahawks do.
Okay.
The Eagles do. The Lions do. I think it's kind of interesting. I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to know what your top 10 is. I'm curious. I think Niner fans are curious too.
Okay. So this year is weird because this is my top 10 because of what I think teams are going to do. So it's not what I logically would do. Okay.
Right. Sure.
So, right. So the top 10 is Carolina, Texans, Arizona, Indy, Seattle, Detroit, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Chicago,
Philly. Yeah.
Yeah. I have Bryce Young going number 1 overall to Carolina.
Seems like you have to make that pick, right? There's no real choice there.
Yeah.
You get fired if you don't make that pick, I think.
Yeah. There's no way unless they go. I could maybe see them going Will Anderson, but it doesn't make sense.
Even Will Anderson, like his physical profile, like he looks like kind of like Clay Matthews, like not your typical number 1 pick in the draft. He's not exactly Myles Garrett or Nick Bosa. A little smaller.
So
yeah,
I have the Texans going with CJ Stroud.
Wow.
So yeah.
See, I don't think they're gonna do that because they come from the Niners and all this stuff about his S2 score and the scheme he comes from. I think they chicken out. But I think they should take. I think Stroud's going to be good. But I think my prediction is that the Texans blink at 2 and take a defensive player, Will Anderson or something.
This is my thing about CJ Stroud and this whole score situation.
Yes,
is that I think that the smarter you try to go, it's like the farther away from the guys that actually just know how to play the game. Like when I see CJ Stroud play, I think visually he's better than Bryce Young. So I don't care about a test. You can't write a test when you're about to get your ass whooped. You got to play.
What they're doing is they're just holding Ohio State against him. They're finding a bunch of different ways to say he went to Ohio State, and we don't trust that, which is fair.
I mean, and
because none of the Ohio State quarterbacks, I get it. But still, I think he's going to be good. I mean, he's a better passer than Fields, and he's a very good athlete too. Like, what does he not have? Are they going to say he's a moron? Like, he doesn't make good decisions? Well, he did in college.
We're not. Come on, man.
He did in college.
I just
Will Levis didn't though, but he scored well in a test. That's what kills me. Will Levis, there's a bunch of tape of him not making good decisions on the football field, but he does one test one day, and people are like, "What a smart young man!" It's like, word.
Well, and that's what's so weird about the draft, because it's like a season within of itself. You know,
right.
It's like,
right.
You know, it's almost kind of like you get caught up in this vacuum of time and space where you are just you are hyping guys up to win an argument, but you don't understand that.
Yes.
Yeah, but
they actually have to go out and play on the field one day. Yeah.
These decisions are going to track later.
Yeah, true.
So,
okay. All right. Stroud too. That would be a good pick for D'Amico.
Arizona, I have going with Will Anderson.
Okay.
I have going with Will Anderson. Arizona.
That feels like a very Arizona pick. They always go defense.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're tired of watching us and the like of our division beat them on defense. Yeah. They need something else on that defense. Okay, so this is where it gets funny. I have Anthony Richardson going forward to Indy. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a good spot for him. I'd be intrigued if Indy takes Anthony Richardson, given what that man did with Jalen Hurts and how much more athletic.
Exactly. And
he's so much more athletic. Yeah.
He's so much more athletic than Jalen Hurts. And he found a way. He found a way to get production out of Jalen Hurts. And not only that, though, but Indy has a lot of good pieces. And they got a hellified run game. And they got a good O-line. Like, they do. I just think that Indy could be like the AFC version of the Eagles. Like, they're big. They're physical. All they need is that they
couple wide receivers.
Well, they need receivers, of course, but they need that quarterback that kind of just his athleticism supersedes the rules. Like
Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor in the same backfield. I mean, they could lead the league in rushing immediately.
Come on now, and not only that though, but it's like, all right, and people are gonna get mad at this, but if without today's quarterback protection, right, and the rules that they have for the offense, Jalen Hurts is not special 10 years ago. He's not a special quarterback 15 years ago. He's not. If defenses can play the way they played in 2010,
Kaepernick, the way they hit,
come on,
they used to hit.
Imagine if Cap played today with today's rules.
Imagine if Steve Young played today. Oh my God, the two Cap too. Cap would be crazy. Steve would be crazy. Those two would be crazy. Yeah.
So I look at. I'm starting to see teams. They see Jalen Hurts, right? And they see Josh.
Jalen Hurts is like a running back that you can't touch. Like, how is that?
Josh Allen.
Yeah, running back you can't touch. Yeah, running back you can't touch. What's going on? As soon as they slide, you can't touch them. Oh, it's a 15-yard penalty on top of the run. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And these guys.
Justin Fields is really good at that too. He'll get 15 yards plus the penalty because of the slide right at the end. If only Trey Lance could learn that, man. The slide is important.
But Trey Lance is a whole nother ball of wax. But
but that slide is important, man. I'll get you to the extra 15 yards. Just saying.
Definitely. And I just feel like Anthony Richardson, he's got a lot of upside, and he's going to be with a coach that can push him and make him grow. And
they're not trading up for him like the Niners did for Lance, so that's good. They're in Indianapolis, so as soon as he goes there, no one gives a damn because it's Indy in the middle of nowhere, so people just forget about him.
If we go with your philosophy on revolving door at quarterback, in 4 years, nobody will care. They'll just move on to somebody else.
It's true. It's true.
So
you're not drafting him for 10 years. You're drafting him for 4. And if you get more, great. Keep going.
I think that. All right.
I like that.
Seattle, Jalen Carter out of UGA, the DN.
We got to talk about Jalen Carter.
Okay.
What do you think of him? I know he's going to go high, but wow, he's scary. Let me say what scares me about him. First of all, 6 sacks in college. I mean, I understand he's a D tackle and there's more to it, but you'd like some pass rush. Okay. And then all the stuff about the character concerns. I mean, whoa. So yeah, tell
Gaining
me
all
why
that
that's a good
weight.
pick at 5. Whoa.
Well,
Like at least 5 red flags here.
Well, number one is that you can't coach talent. He's just naturally gifted.
That's true. That's true.
Those numbers at his size, man.
Yeah. Yep.
You cannot just
Rare.
ignore that. That's one. 2, I don't necessarily look at numbers in college more than I look for production, right?
Okay.
So if he's got 6 sacks, I haven't watched a lot of film on Jalen Carter, but just like scouting best practice, right? This is just what you should know.
Yeah.
How many times has he gotten close and didn't get a sack, right?
Fair.
How many times did he free up guys to get sacks, right? Who's the guy next to him, or who's the guy that had the career year because of how good Jalen played, right? So it's really, so numbers, we get caught up in numbers because it's a stale static number, right? It result rather, but I see that I don't look at the 6 sacks. I look at the fact that he played with a hellified group of young men in Georgia.
He did.
Right? And he stood out. And it's hard to stand out amongst other dogs, right?
It's true.
No pun intended. So for what he brings to the table and defensively what Seattle is known to do, they need another stud. There are some of all parts on defense right now. They really don't have,
and they have a strong culture that could probably get the most out of him.
Get him to go. And let's be honest, I hate to say that. I mean, I don't hate to say this is the truth. Seattle is known to deal with knuckleheads.
They're
really
known
to deal with knuckleheads.
Yeah.
And
Pete Carroll's good at
it. He's really good at it. He's like Marvin Lewis.
I feel like he makes football fun. And like people question whether he loves football with Jalen Carter. Like, okay, go play for Pete Carroll, man. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't go to the Patriots.
He keeps the main thing. And another thing, you know, the special sauce about being a coach that takes on problem childs is that intrinsically your problem child knows that this is the end of the road for them. Because
if it doesn't work with this guy,
with this guy, it's a problem. So a lot of those
can't blame the coach.
You can't blame me, right? So Pete is known to do that, but I bet dollars to donuts. I've been in many meetings where coaches they will stand on the table for you publicly, but they know that they're socially lynching you. When they get back, it's like, now you see what I just did for you?
Yeah.
Now
you do for me?
What
are you gonna do for me?
Go ahead, screw me.
After I just put my
somewhere else.
Exactly.
You know
I feel like Andy Reid is like that too. He could take on these.
Coaches are like they'll leverage you.
Good coaches. Good coaches.
I'll go to bat for you. I will. But what are you gonna do for me?
Yeah.
Now you owe me.
I like that. That's so smart.
Yeah.
This is what you only get at the coaches meeting, baby. This is great. I love that.
Yeah. I would bet
Pete Carroll's a damn good coach.
Yeah, I would bet that Pete and Jalen have already had a man-to-man come to Jesus moment.
Right. And the way Pete looks at it is you have these terrible coaches and their inability to work with a young, talented man who's 22 and might need a little guidance.
Yeah.
Lets him fall right to me where I'm the perfect coach for him anyway. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Hey, I can see it.
Hey, listen,
I can see
kid.
it.
Hey, listen, kid. I made it work with Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Show the fuck up to practice and make it happen.
Love it. All right, man. I like this pick. Perfect spot for Jalen Carter. What we got next?
Yeah.
Show the fuck up. I love that.
Yeah. Detroit, I have them taking Tyree Wilson, the DN out of Texas Tech.
They need defense.
They need defense badly. With Las Vegas, I got them going corner. Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois. I think he'll be the first one taken.
No Will Levis.
Yeah.
You really think Josh McDaniel can resist Will Levis? I don't know. Okay.
Well, he's got Jimmy.
Yeah. It's true. When you got Jimmy, what more do you need? Okay, I'm with you on that. All right.
And you know what's crazy? Just 10 more seconds on that. We don't know what he did to convince them to let Jimmy walk through that door. So he's probably already used all his social currency, right? Like
they gave him a lot of money.
All right, guys, hear me out. Will Levis. That can't happen.
Okay, fair enough. So you got them taking who was it again? Witherspoon?
Witherspoon.
Okay.
I have Atlanta taking Will Levis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
I have Atlanta taking Will Levis.
Most people haven't taken the running back, but like, yeah, if a quarterback's there, then you kind of have to do that. Especially when your quarterback is Desmond Ridder.
Atlanta has one thing that I know about Atlanta is that they were very savvy what they did. They moved a lot of dead cap money all at once. It's almost kind of like most teams they just ripped the Band-Aid right off.
They had a ton of dead cap. Didn't they lead the league in dead cap last year?
They led the league in dead cap.
Dead cap last year.
They damn near played an entire season with like $100 million in.
I heard that. They had the cheapest team essentially in the league. Every player on the team was either on the rookie deal or a 1-year deal.
Yes. They had so much talent there. Like Atlanta,
and they competed. They freaking competed that way. It was crazy.
They beat us.
Beat the Niners. Yeah, exactly. And remember, they have no home field advantage. They have a beautiful stadium. No one gives a shit about professional football in the state of Georgia. They like Georgia football. They like Georgia Southern. The Falcons don't care.
That are played in that stadium are on Saturdays.
That's right. That's right. It's the wildest thing, man. Yeah.
So
Sunday is for brunch in Atlanta. That's what I learned. Sunday is brunch day. That's it. We do brunch and then we chill. That's it. We don't do football. Football Saturday.
Brunch. We do brunch.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Brunch. So I got Will Levis going in Atlanta. That would be dope. I think for at 9, I have Chicago taking Paris Johnson out of OSU.
Thank God. What a great pick that would be. Please protect that man. Because you know what happened to Kyler Murray is essentially, that organization badmouthed him and made him look an idiot before they gave him a contract extension, which is interesting. Oh, he loves Call of Duty. Actually, he loves baseball, he loves football. He's quite good at all these things. If you had just protected him, they drafted 2 offensive linemen.
Right.
He got hurt. He got hurt escaping pressure, scrambling away from pressure. Like, he's good at it, but that was going to happen. Shame on them. And the same thing could happen to Justin Fields. Yeah.
I really do believe that they're going to invest in Justin. And I honestly, I think just because Justin is so talented and how many more Bears games are we going to watch where we're just watching his potential be drained? Like you're watching this kid have these hard
him against the world
games and they're losing. And you're like, he's going to be a shell of himself in 2-3 years.
I think in the past, there used to be real quick, in the past with quarterbacks, I think there was a prevailing notion in the NFL that the best way to help them is give them a defense. But it's like, I don't know, man. I think they need blocking. I think they need weapons. But if they're great, they can make the weapons better. But Mahomes needs blocking. He doesn't need a defense. He needs an offensive line. That's what they figured out in Kansas City. You don't really need a defense. He needs an offensive fucking line. And a tight end. That's it. That's all he needs. Period.
I agree with you 100%. I think that it's time for them to invest in their offensive line. And Paris Johnson, he's hands down in my eyes the best tackle he's the best tackle in this draft.
Love that. All right, Eagles 10.
10, Philly, Christian Gonzalez, corner out of Oregon. So I have them going corner. They lost some guys. And one of the things about Philly is that because they go 5 up front, those corners really need to be doing their job back there. So I think that Philly's going to go ahead and just go get corner. And they spent, I think, another reason why they're going to go corner is they spent a shit ton of free agency money at corner in the past couple of seasons. And they kind of I think they want to slow that down and get some rookies and some young blood in there so they can start having some homegrown talent instead of just buying so high off the hog.
I mean, re-signing James Bradbury isn't. I like that. That was great. That was really terrific. I was sold on him. Made a good argument on him. I like him. Thank you for doing that. Rob Schneider, if the Niners don't get O-line with one of their first 3 picks, it's a draft failure. We have to draft some speed this year. Also maybe at cornerback or DN. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because that brings us into our next topic. Just a second. Bass, Spokane Niner fan, says there's a reason Tom had all time in the world to throw. Yeah, I think it's important. I think what we've learned in the league is what quarterbacks need is an offensive line above all else. If they're great, you can sort of get weapons. You can get guys on their rookie deal. You don't have to spend a ton of money on wide receivers and running backs, but you do have to spend on an offensive line. And the Niners haven't had that epiphany yet. They're still over there spending on defensive line and linebacker. And, anyway, Rob Schneider says all our picks should be from the South somewhere. They are all game-changing dogs. Clowney, Debo, Derrick Henry, Hurts, Burrow, Chase Young, A.J. Brown. Yeah, but the Niners have had some success taking guys from the West Coast. Talanoa.
Yeah.
They really have.
Fred Warner.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
They got, Jimmy Ward. They do. I will say this about the Niners. We do very well at keeping tabs on our backyard talent. Guys that are in the West Coast, local guys. I'm very proud of that. And that is the mark of real football, because at the end of the day, we're going to get guys from all over because we're a professional organization. So our reach goes nationally, globally, even at times, right? But what you do understand is that all of this searching around is really kind of for like the top cream of the crop. But really that 30 to 40% of your team, like your practice players, your guys that you're going to develop, that's all of your local guys. That's all of the small colleges and the BYUs and the Utahs and the San Jose States, all of those Fresno States, all of those schools around.
University of San Diego, where Ross Dwelly came from. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
the guy who's just living in Sacramento. Hey, you want to be on our practice squad? Sure. I mean, I'm from out here.
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, we're not going to pay you, but you're from out here. Yeah. Yep.
Crazy. And what's even doper about it, honestly, is that usually on teams, those guys kind of like they never surface, right? They're just kind of like under the ship, toiling away. But our guys actually become household names. They actually become starters and play. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, also, don't forget Brandon Ayuk. He was from Reno. He went to Sierra College in Rockland, and then went to Arizona State. That was kind of like a West Coast secret right there. Not a lot of people in the national media had heard of Brandon Ayuk, but the Niners took him round one. Brock Purdy's from Arizona kid. Absolutely. Good call. Yep. Official B&A Music 88 says, imagine if Seattle had Reuben Foster instead of SF. That's a good point. That's the kind of knucklehead. Because Reuben Foster, unless I got the wrong impression of him, he was a good-hearted knucklehead who was a little immature. He was really young. Yeah. But he was always super nice to me. I liked him.
But that's the thing, though. Like, it's almost okay. So, quick story. Like, I went to private school. In the 9th grade, right?
Okay.
And
me too.
Yeah, and I went to private school from public school. And when I went to private school, I got kicked out of there within like the first year, right? Because
that's how it goes. I remember at O'Dowd, the ninth, there's like 350 kids in the 9th grade, and there's like 250 kids in the 12th grade because kids just get kicked out. It's private school. They don't give you a second chance.
Yeah, and like the backdrop, like the teachers weren't. Like the teachers couldn't handle me. It was too slow. It was a very small and docile school. And it's almost kind of like, the same thing we're talking about with Lamar being here. It's the same thing with, Jalen Carter going to Seattle. Sometimes you need that environment that can ingest the type of player that's going to be there, right?
You need the best place for you.
Reuben Foster, I agree with that. Reuben Foster could have went somewhere where, wilding out a little bit ain't that big of a deal. And the media ain't really going to be crazy about it because you got a head coach that can talk about it. And really ingest it. So
also, it's probably. He got in trouble going out to a club in Union Square in San Francisco. I forget what it's called. Love and Propaganda. I went to that club one time. Maybe there would have been fewer clubs in Seattle. I don't know. Although I'm sure there are a couple. What about Yannick Ngakoue still available? Says Mr. Candles. I don't know. What is he waiting for?
I don't think so.
I don't think they're gonna get him. How dare you say Huffy give up 16 TDs in 16 games? No, he didn't. He was good. He had a bad stretch. All right, let's make some Niners predictions on their picks. They got 11 picks, 3 in round 3, 3 in round 5, 1 in round 6, 3 in round 7. Not a mock draft, but I think it'd be fun for just me and you to go back and forth with each pick and make a prediction at which position they take at that pick, assuming they don't draft, and we'll go back next week and see who got more right. Be fun. Starting at pick 99, round 3. What do you think they're going to take?
I feel we're going to go safety.
Let's start there. Let's just start there. You think they're going to go safety at pick 99? Why?
Well, I feel like that's the weakest part of our defense.
Yes.
We don't really have anybody there outside of Gibb and Talanoa that we can trust. And we're kind of kicking the can down the road on that. I hate to say it, but I feel like Gibson kind of bailed us out by coming back. I didn't think we were going to get him back.
He played so well.
I think he's turning, I think he's turning 33 or 32.
Yep. That's something like that. Yep.
So it's time for us to inject something there. And for the safety that I think we could get, it'd be Jimmy Robinson out of Florida State.
Okay.
So I'd be happy with that.
I like it.
For our first pick.
Okay. I'm going linebacker. I'm looking at it as they lost Azeez Al-Shaair. They do have Marcelino McCrary Ball, but that's a potential starting spot that a rookie could fill. And the Niners, they've drafted one linebacker in round 3 since Kyle and John have been here. It was Fred Warner. I mean, they're really good at drafting linebackers. Really good.
They are.
So if a good one drops to them, and I don't know who that would be, but if there's one they like at 99, they could justify it by saying, man, he could start for us right away. And he's going to be a real player for us, and we have success drafting and developing this position. So I'm gonna bet on linebacker at 99, and I think they definitely going to take one with one of those top 3 picks. Well, I'm gonna say definitely. Okay, what are you gonna do 101?
Okay. I think is it my turn to pick on their
their second round 3 pick 101. Who you got? What position?
That's hard.
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to say running back again. Seriously. I don't know what it is, but here's what I'm looking at. They've drafted 6 positions in round 3 since Kyle and John have been here. Running back, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, quarterback, cornerback. Cornerback. I feel like they have a profile of positions they're targeting there. I don't see them going trenches in round 3. They've never done it. They look back 7 on defense, and it looked like they're looking wide receivers, running backs. What happened to him? Oh, here he is. So I'm thinking running back. They've taken running back in round 3 the last 2 years, but neither one hit. Trey Sermon's gone, and I thought Ty Davis Price could be gone too. He did nothing. Jordan Mason's better than him. So I'm going to say running back.
All right.
But not that I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right about that because you could always get a running back in round 6. Yes, me too.
I would be upset if we did that. But I want to go with Wanye Morris out of Oklahoma tackle.
Okay.
That 101.
Okay.
I like that. I think safety and tackle, if we don't make those our first 2 picks, I'm concerned.
Yeah. I like it.
We spent money at D tackle.
Yeah.
We spent money at D tackle, and I think it's time for us to make some serious moves. In round 3 for us, we find good value at early, like in mid to late in the draft. I think Wanye Morris out of Oklahoma would be good for us at 101.
I like that. Real quick, to me, these picks in round 3 are really important because day 2 is different than day 3. Day 2 are players that you feel can develop into starters. Day 3, you don't necessarily feel that. I mean, if they do develop into starters, great, but those are guys who could be backups or special teams guys. So 3 guys the Niners look at as potential starters for their team. Who are they going to take? This is who they've taken in round 3 since Kyle and John have been here. In order. Akello Witherspoon.
Okay.
Ambry Thomas. Not in order, but these are who they've taken. Akello Witherspoon, Ambry Thomas, CJ Beathard, Fred Warner, Tervarius Moore, Jalen Hurd, Danny Gray, Trey Sermon, Ty Davis Price. Just awful. So they got to get these. What's the point of having these picks if you're going to throw them away? Murderer's row. So I like your pick so far. I'm counting on them throwing more away. Running back. Yep, I can see that happening again. Okay, what do you think about pick 102, the final one?
I think I would go cornerback. And I think I'm going to go Tre'Davious Hodges Tomlinson out of TCU. I like him.
Okay. I was going to say Eli Ricks out of Alabama.
I'm a Bama fan. I didn't like Eli Ricks.
Why?
Well, he doesn't finish. I mean, he's almost like a more athletic Ambry Thomas. Like he has problems where, remember when Ambry was having, and Demo, they both had the issues where they're in phase, they're in the play, but they just don't finish. They don't turn around, they don't track the ball. Eli Ricks had a lot of problems with that, and he transferred out of LSU to come to Bama, and he struggled. And he was supposed to come to Bama and like be kind of like the tip of the spear, and he lost his job to a JUCO guy like mid-season. So
good to know.
That's what I know about Eli Ricks personally, because I'm a Bama fan.
Let me ask you a question about these corners. I feel like the two corners they've taken in round 3 have failed, Akello and Ambry. And in both cases, they were really good athletes who tested well, who were, I don't want to say soft, but not physical enough. Like the Niners are looking for cornerbacks who really tackle well. And I think that's a big reason why Diamador Lenore is playing, and Travarius Ward as well. So who was the corner you mentioned, and does he tackle well?
Yeah, Travius Hodges Tomlinson out of TCU.
Okay,
he's 5'8". One thing that I like about him is that he's seen a lot of balls come his way. Pause. Yeah.
5'8". So he could play a little. He could play a little nickel.
He's gonna play nickel slot. He's not gonna be an outside guy. I think we have that locked down. But I think he's gonna play a little nickel for us, dime, and he's very athletic.
Yeah.
I think he would do well for us. I like him there.
Hold on, let me rattle off his athletic numbers. So he's 5'8", 178. He has 29-inch arms. Looks pretty perfect for the slot. Ran a 4.41. Has a 39-inch vert. And he gave up a catch percentage last year of 34.6. I like it. 10 PBUs. 14 penalties for real? 14?
Yeah, he's spicy.
Anyway, he's spicy. Cool. Well, it's not like it's. I mean, Sam Womack had an opportunity.
Yep.
They didn't seem to like what they saw, so I could see them taking another corner right there. Although the corners they've taken in round 3 have been big outside guys. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and again, the Niners are really, this is tough sledding for us, man, because, we don't have anything. We don't have no sexy picks, man. So,
test.
Do you hear me?
People can't. Your audio? What's wrong with my audio? What's up? My mic's acting up?
Yeah, your mic's acting
up. What's wrong?
It is. It's like,
okay, hold on.
You're
give me
like
a second.
Crackly.
That's not good. Hold on. Let me see what's up. Give me a second. Keep talking. Carry the entire show.
All right. So, honestly, I just think that what we're gonna do later in the draft is where I'm most.
Okay, you're good.
I'm good.
Test. How do I sound? Test. Test. 1, 2, 3. Am I good? Okay. Sorry.
I can hear you.
All right. So we did round 3. Let's go to round 5. No pick in round 4. Round 5. Pick 155. This is the Niners' magic round. This is where the magic happens, Coach. What are they going to do? 3 picks in round 5 by design.
This is where I feel like we go all defense in round 5. I feel like in round 5 is where we go to your linebacker pick where, I have round 5. I have Marte Mapu out of Sacramento State. Safety linebacker, guy that's going to fly around. I think that's a pick that we would take in round 5. At 155.
I like that.
Can you hear me,
because the Niners, can you? No, I like that. The Niners drafted Dre Greenlaw in round 5. That they've had success at linebacker in round 5. That would be a good one. That makes sense to me. I don't want to say kicker because the Niners took Mitch Wishnowsky in round 4, and part of me feels like the Niners are going to take a kicker right here. But I'm not going to say kicker. What I'm going to say is offensive tackle. I know you haven't taken one already. I think they wait until here. This is where they took Colton McKivitz. And I feel like they're either going to take an offensive tackle in round 1 or they're going to wait until round 3 and take a guy that they can develop over time. So I'm going to say offensive tackle round 5, the next Colton McKivitz, the next guy that they cut and put in their practice squad and then elevate and tell you how much they like in year 3.
Okay. All right.
Offensive tackle.
That. And you got,
yeah.
All right. So 164. For 164, I have him going D tackle, Kobe Turner out of Wake Forest.
Okay. What do you like? What do you like about him?
I like he's played a lot of football. So one of the things about Kobe is that he's got quick hands. He's got a hell of a motor, and he's just a tryhard. One thing that I know about him is that he's very stout in the run game too. and he's got good starting moves to get to the quarterback, but he doesn't really finish a lot. That's why we're going to find him in 5. That's why he's going to be in 5. But we have a soothsayer at the defensive line coach. So we're going to be all right with Kobe Turner coming in at Wake Forest. I think at 164, that's what we'll do.
One thing to remember, again, I'm going back to the cornerback. Any cornerback the Niners draft has to be a freaking dog. And if you're not, and you don't tackle, you don't play well enough against the run, they'll bench you. Most people, they think about DBs like what you have to do is cover. I think on the Niners, if you're not as physical as the rest, they will freaking bench you. So Akello, Ambry, like you didn't fit the personality of the defense. You got to go. And whatever corner they take is going to have to, like Steve Wilkes, he drafted and developed Josh Norman. That dude was one of the most physical corners of his generation. A lot like Richard Sherman, but even nutser. Dude was legit. And he would force fumbles. I mean, that's who they're sort of looking for at corner.
Yeah. I feel like our calling card across the board is physicality. That's why when we are not physical, we look so bad. You know what I'm saying?
One of 11 isn't physical, he stands out.
Exactly. If one of 11 isn't physical, it stands out. And it hurts the entire team because of what we do on defense and offense. Offensively, we run the ball. That intrinsically is an effort initiative. Like it's all about effort, moving a man from point A to point B. On defense, we're vanilla. We're not sexy on defense as far as all of the exotics. We build our hat off of
11 men to the ball. 11 men to the ball. Swarm to the ball.
Everybody, So
everybody, not just the linebackers. Yep.
That is how we're built. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, pick 164. What you got?
164, I got us at Kobe Turner, Wake Forest.
Kobe Turner. Okay, I got a safety there.
It's at Marte Mapu.
Okay.
The safety linebacker. And for 173.
Hold on. Let me do 164 real quick. For 164, I don't have a name, but I'm thinking they're going to target a safety here. They got Talanoa Hufanga in round 5. They had success drafting a safety in round 5. They tried drafting a safety in round 3. It was Tavarius Moore. Now, maybe they'll try again, but that was a ridiculous draft pick. He was a safety. They moved him to corner. They realized he couldn't play corner. They moved him back to safety. He wasn't good at either one. That was a stupid. Also, another guy who wasn't physical, Tavarius Moore. So maybe very fast. Another guy who tested well. Moore, Akello, Ambry tested well. Not good physical football players. I think round 5. I mean, they hit on Talanoa. Why not run it back? That's what I'm looking at in round 5. Okay, what about 173?
173, I have us going with I'm going to butcher this name. Villamami Fiohoko, edge out of San Jose State. I think we're going to go local here.
Edge. Interesting.
Yeah. And he's Vita Vea's cousin. Fun fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bloodlines. Not his character.
Yeah. And he's finished. I mean, he just one of those guys that played at like a lesser school, but was the best guy on the field every time he played. Like, so we're getting one of those guys where everybody knows that Fiohoko was going to the league. They just didn't know where. He's one of those guys. So we're kind of getting like, we're kind of going in. And that's one thing that I feel like that we do very well. We go into small pockets of football and we take like the best of what they have. And then we bring it on and develop it. Right. Mm-hmm. So what do? What does that look like? That looks like a Kalia Davis out of UCF. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. That looks like a Aziz Al-Shair when we plucked him out of FAU. Like these were guys that you're not going to hear about them week in and week out, but for where they are, they're the king of the crop. Right. Yep. And they're the unspoken leader of where they are. And that's one thing that we do very well. We go and get those guys from those small pockets that really are the king of their castle.
The thing about so you edge rusher here, I don't have them drafting an edge rusher. And I think I didn't have him in my mock draft drafting an edge rusher either. I was looking, they don't draft edge rushers very much. I think they've drafted 3 since they've been here. I think it was Peter Tomapino, Nick Bosa, and Drake Jackson. I think that's it. So the way I think they look at it is they'll draft a guy in round 1 or 2. But after that, I think they bring him in free agency. I think they're thinking man, instead of trying to find a diamond in the rough in round 5, let me just sign a former first-round pick who's been mismanaged and let Chris Kosarick work with some real talent. That's the way I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'm going wide receiver here.
Honestly, Grant, it happens so much. I wouldn't be surprised if that shit isn't in writing in a contract somewhere. Like,
I know.
It happens so much.
Yeah.
It's
no, I
hard
mean, they
not
could
to
take
say
a DN.
That's not what we do.
But, I mean, it seems like that's a position they take more in free agency. I'm going wide receiver here. I feel like end of round 5 is where they took Trent Taylor a million years ago. They have Ray McLeod, but he's going to be a free agent next year, and they could look for another guy who's like a gadget player, a smaller guy who could be a returner here. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's a million guys like that. Round 6, what you got? Kicker.
Cameron Latu.
Okay.
Tight end out of Alabama. So,
I have tight end too. I have tight end as well.
Yeah. I like Cameron Latu is a converted linebacker.
Okay.
That played tight end for Alabama.
Okay.
And he actually did very well. And he was actually a good linebacker too. He has great hands. He can block his ass off. He just has an injury history. That's the knock. That's why we're getting him at 6. So he limped through his last year at Alabama. Barely played.
Did he limp through the combine too? He ran 4.78. Sorry, I'm a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he went.
I'm like, damn, dog.
That was funny.
Why is that? Sorry.
he had a banged up season.
Yeah.
But he is a definite upgrade over Charlie Warner. I'm telling you. So, and that's out the box without playing. He's an upgrade over Charlie Warner. So, I like him. I think that he would do well here, especially in our.
He did an upgrade over Charlie Warner.
Yeah, and he does. One thing that I do like about him, he does kind of have like that savvy gadgetiness to him. So he would fit well here. Like he does do the pop passes and the sneak plays and the jet sweeps and the tight end screens. Like Alabama used him a lot for stuff like that. So I could see him being here and, he may run that 4.7, but he could beat the guts up. Like he's a guy that's going to really get between the sticks and make things happen.
Oh, okay. Do you have an opinion on Hunter Lipke from North Dakota State? He's supposed to get taken around the same area. Yeah. And he ran a 4.57. And he ran a 7.033 cone. So I don't know if he can block anyone, but he's a good athlete.
Yeah. So that's who you have at 16?
Mr. Candle says Hunter Lipke round 5 North ND as use check replacement. Yeah, he's 6'1". Maybe Lipke could be a fullback they take around the same. But I'm thinking round 6 as well because
Cameron Latu could be a juice check replacement.
There you go. Okay. I think round 6 is a good spot. I like to look at where teams historically take people because teams usually have philosophies and they try to stick to it. And the Niners have drafted tight ends in round 6 twice. Caden Smith and Charlie Warner. They drafted George Kittle in round 5, but look at his traits. Look what he did at the combine. I think the Niners would only take someone that gifted round 5. And so I'm looking round 6. I think they would probably take someone around 6. Okay, what about round 7?
Okay.
4 picks.
Well, we talked about Laquan Treadwell a couple of weeks ago, being possibly a replacement or a little bit of a challenge for Juwan Jennings. Well, I think that we go ahead and get Juwan Jennings' replacement in round 7. Jake Bobo out of UCLA, receiver. Bobo's a big kid. He's 6'5", large catch radius, and he's a very good blocker. And he catches a majority of his passes over the middle. So he's an in between the hashes wide receiver. Jake Bobo out of UCLA. I think he would push Juwan Jennings.
I know Jake Bobo. Jake Bobo is pretty good. Jake Bobo.
You know Jake Bobo?
I mean, I don't know Jake Bobo, but I watched UCLA football. He was the guy. He was the guy that Dorian Thompson-Robinson would essentially throw to down the field if he wasn't checking down to Charbonnet.
Don't you think
he's
he
pretty
would be good? Do you like him?
He's exactly.
I like Jake Bobo.
He's exactly the kind of guy that could replace Juwan Jennings, and that's what I'm looking for here in round 7. That pick 2, whatever that is, 222. I'm looking wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because that's where they took Juwan Jennings. He's going to be a free agent in a year or two, in a year. and they're going to
Yep.
look for another type of player there. So he'd be perfect. Yeah, Jake Bobo would be good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
good call. I'm with you. Wide receiver with their first round 7 pick. I totally agree. What about their second one?
Jacob Slade, D tackle out of Michigan State. So
D tackle?
another
I have that
interior
too.
guy.
I have that too.
Yeah,
Yeah, D
I
tackle.
think
I agree.
we talk a lot about edge, but our main issue is interior, man, and stopping the run. When we cannot stop the run, our defense just falls apart, man, because our defensive line is the tip of the spear. It's what we do. I think Jacob Slade is somebody who he's going to fall to us because of injury. But if Jacob Slade wasn't hurt, I think he'd be like a 3rd-round pick. And
That's the kind of defensive tackles the Niners take in round 7, right? The that's the medical red shirts. That's when you want to take them. Kalia Davis, kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I think last year he missed I think like 9 games because he was hurt. But while he was, if Jacob Slade, like I said before, if Jacob Slade was healthy, he'd be like a day 2 pick.
Okay. Perfect for the end of round 7. What you got with the second to last round 7 pick?
Khalif Hassali, cornerback out of Western Kentucky. Another guy
corner,
where
the Tariq Castro Fields of this draft.
Yeah. And like another guy that we talked about where small footprint, nobody's watching Western Kentucky play, but he's the guy where he is. He's a leader. So I think once there's something about bringing in those leaders who they have kind of like a whole town or a whole school or campus behind them because the pressure is on because they know they have to make it, right? It's like, God, so I think that Khalif Halisi out of the quarterback of West Kentucky. And for me,
I was gonna put a kicker there at the end of round 7. Second to last pick. Kicker. But what'd you got for the last pick?
Max Duggan.
Okay. I got quarterback there too.
TCU.
Duggan?
Yeah.
Duggan.
Yeah, Max Duggan. I think, obviously we need a quarterback. We can't go into camp with Brock on possibly Brock being on the pup, Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. Right now, we only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. So we have to draft a quarterback or either sign one. And I think that Max Duggan would be good for us. He's got a little bit of a gamer to him, He's got a good ball. He's played in big games. He's a leader, fearless. And I think he's somebody that Kyle could kind of just have a toy and just work on. Just stay in the back and just hold the clipboard.
Yeah, I think you'd have to take him over Stetson Bennett. I mean, he's younger, he's bigger, he's faster, he's better. And I mean, it's like they played each other in the national championship, right? And Stetson Bennett won. But what if you put Stetson Bennett on TCU and Max Duggan on Georgia? Like, who would have won?
Yeah, I wasn't. Georgia? And then I don't like Stetson Bennett's moxie. It's like, bro, you're 48. Relax. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. It's like you're like the 20. You're like the 48. You're still an undergrad. You're still at the frat. Like, dude, stop partying with 18-year-olds.
Yeah. He's like pulling up to the school in his car at the bus stop while everybody's getting on. It's like, all right, we get it, cool guy. You know what I'm saying?
That's like Billy Madison when he goes back to high school. He's Billy Madison. Going back to high school, Billy Madison.
Definitely.
All right, man. Well, that was fun. I think we agreed on at least 4 of the last 5. I got 2 more questions for you. Well, this is an interesting topic. So the Niners, it seems like almost purposely got rid of their top picks because they've had some misses. And now they're so concentrated at the end of round 3 and round 5 and late where they've really had a lot of success. And it was interesting, like a couple of days ago, someone asked John Lynch, why are you guys so good at drafting in round 5 and later in the draft? And I don't have the exact quote, but he essentially said it's because that's when we really collaborate. Our coaches and our scouts all working together, challenging each other. And that seems like such a obvious, boring answer. But what he's saying is, as opposed to earlier in the draft, such as round 3, when we have all these freaking misses for no reason. And what I think is interesting is what he's sort of saying without saying is, Kyle makes a lot of picks on his own early in the draft. And I don't know
And
who
then we
tells him to
take
make
over.
these picks. Yeah, it might be his dad or him. I don't know where he gets these bright ideas. Jalen Hurd, Danny Gray, Trey Sermon died. But finally, when we're allowed to do our job, we do a good job. I thought that was kind of interesting, and it probably has the ring of truth.
Mm, mm. Well, there's a lot of hands in the pot.
Yep.
It gets stuffy up top. I I don't know Jed's involvement with high picks unless maybe I mean I would assume that Jed is involved if capital or assets need to be moved in order to make a draft move. But I I tend to believe that the earlier picks are made with Kyle and John both in the room acquiescing, and Kyle gets acquiesced too. And some of those picks are misses.
I have a
Um,
feeling the only time Jed is involved is when it's a top 10 pick. Like when it's maybe a first round pick or definitely top 10. And that's why I feel like you get these guys who are really respectful. Like owners like people like that. Mike McGlinchey, Trey Lance, Solomon Thomas.
yeah,
Like these are guys, you know what I mean?
politic pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like sometimes if he has a vote, sometimes the owner can vote for like, hey, he's supposed to be the face of our franchise. I want a guy who represents us well. That kind of thing.
Mm.
Also, he went to
Well,
Notre Dame and so did Mike McGlinchey. I'm sorry, that has nothing, neither here nor there. Or is it?
yeah, well, and then also the bigger picks, they have just all of the fanfare and like the highlights on them. If we stick with picks, we pull the trigger on picks too. I mean, look at Jimmy Ward. We stuck with Jimmy Ward. He struggled, man. Early on when we first had him, he was
But can I
switching
name
all
you some
types of
first round picks the
positions.
Niners have made since Kyle and John have been here? Let me name you some. Solomon Thomas, Reuben
I knew that
Foster,
was gonna be the first person you named.
Reuben Foster, Javon
Right.
Kinlaw, Trey
Yes.
Lance 3 times. Um, who else am I missing? I mean, Mike McGlinchey got paid, but I mean they missed some Hall of Famers. They're legitimately bad at drafting early, with the exception of Nick Bosa. And they're legitimately great at drafting in round 5. Like that has got to be the most unique thing in the NFL.
Well, it also speaks to the fact that the only thing that predates this regime is our scouting department.
Correct.
And one of the things that we also do well is in the later rounds of the draft is when we get more local,
Yeah.
is when we start getting guys that are more closer to our footprint and in
Right.
our backyard. So uh I do it does speak to us knowing our surroundings, guys being able to be entrenched in football, in local football around the area. And also it speaks to our coaching staff because picking a guy, saying that you have a good draft pick isn't about the pick. It's about the development once we get the pick. Right. So we we develop, I feel like we develop these guys better because we're getting guys that take to the environment and essentially they're home. They're comfortable, and they're getting better while they're home. And on top of it too, you have to own the fact that while we talk about the misses that we have earlier in the draft, we make some great coaching decisions. We have great coaches that develop these guys. So it all comes out even in the wash, in my opinion.
I think it's interesting though, like um Mike Shanahan, like I lived through Mike Shanahan. He was the best. Like there was a time when he was supposed to be the next Bill Walsh. He got all the power in Denver. He became like the emperor of the Denver Broncos. And what undid him, and I think a big reason he's not in the Hall of Fame, is he was such a bad personnel guy. Like
Yeah.
legitimately bad. Good coach, bad personnel. I always said like Mike Shanahan, the GM, got Mike Shanahan, the coach, fired. And I think what you learn is people that are good, Howie Roseman, these guys who are good at picking players, they dedicate their whole year to it. It's not something they turn on the film in February when they're done coaching. Like it's something they do all the time. And coaches can't do that. It's so arrogant of coaches to be like, well, you want me to cook the dinner, you got to let me buy the groceries. Like, dude, you don't know what you're doing in the grocery store. Let the pros handle it.
That is something that I have noticed, is that I feel like scouting is more of a educational endeavor as far as coaching is concerned, because it's boring and you really have to care about it. It's nerdy. It is, and it's not sexy. It's not
Tedious.
something. It's
Tedious.
very tedious. It's
Yeah.
meticulous, and it is a labor of love. You have to go back and challenge yourself. Sometimes you're looking at things in your eyes. You need to go back and look at something with fresher eyes. Sometimes you may look at look at a kid and be so fixated on them that emotionally you get tied to the kid and you need somebody else to come in to kind of pull you off of them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm mentioning all of those instances in scouting because that takes time.
Right.
To what you're saying, you can't just pop in and look at a kid and just give an assessment, right? And one
to
of
me,
the
like
things,
that's what happened. That's what led to the Trey Sermon miss. Like he had like a couple good games in college, huge games. Ty
yeah,
Davis Price, 300-yard game. Like it just felt like Kyle Shanahan popping on a tape, watching one tape, being like, "Boom, I like him." Like, wait a second,
yeah.
man.
There's something about Kyle that makes me feel like he's really gravitated towards the game aspect, the stuff that he honestly grew up with as a kid, like the games, the scheming it up, the playbooks, the camaraderie, right? The being cool with everybody. But there's a whole other side to the success of coaching. And it's like the teacher, the student, the researcher, right? The studier. Are you gonna, the peer review? Are you gonna run this past somebody? Do you have your own little geek squad of guys that are gonna go look at the new technique of offensive line outside zone for this year, right? And when I hear Kyle talk about scouting or drafts or players, he always kind of comes off like, oh, well, I watched a couple of games. I came in, watched it. I did some scouting. Oh, kind of went out to Cabo, sat down. When I finally got a chance to really give it some time. And that's just not the minutia of a true
Had a glass of
evaluator.
Pinot, opened up the iPad, watched for a few hours. What? It's like, really? You kidding?
That's not the lifestyle of a coach that really wants to get his guy, so to speak. Right. And I feel like at times Kyle may be looking at scout or looking at players from like a prescriptive basis, not more of a descriptive basis, where prescribing is, I need to find a guy that does this in my offense. I need to find that guy, right? Versus descriptive is, I need to find a certain type of player, period, a football player. And I feel like you can get in trouble when you scout that way, when you're prescribing just getting specific guys, because you don't know what's going to come on the other back end of that. And then, I'm trying to stay away from the word, but it is lazy.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, I got to get prepared. I got a long night ahead of me tonight. Have fun. Maybe the Niners will do something. I'm hoping for it. But either way, it's going to be interesting. Coach, this was a great show. I learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Man. I had a good time, man. Thanks.
Sorry, my thing was crackly. I will fix that for the next time. Don't know what happened. Oh well.